Back in the 70s, board games and improv theater had a baby, and it was called the role-playing game. These games allowed a generation of kids to live out their dreams of slaying dragons and saving kingdoms, all while sitting in their bedrooms and basements. Today, gaming has moved into the cultural mainstream, and role-playing games are back with a vengeance. Join us now as 5 of these former kids come out of the basement and onto the internet to experience adventure, mystery, and obscure pop culture references. It's time for Roll for Combat.
Hey everyone, welcome to Roll for Combat. I'm your host and GM, Stephen Glicker, and in this week's show, the boys discuss whether or not they should open up the crate. They also explore the rest of the ship, and somebody learns their lesson about traps. So this is not only one of my favorite episodes, but this is actually one of my favorite sessions we ever had playing any role-playing game. And the reason is that you get to actually see the players role-play, and they're really into it. They really discuss this issue with the crate in exquisite detail, and they really get into it, which is really funny because all we're doing is discussing something that doesn't even exist. But they talk about it like it's a life and death situation, and it's really fun to listen to them really get into their characters. And this actually continues along with the rest of the episode. So for those of you who don't remember, last episode the boys found a 8-foot by 8-foot by 8-foot crate, and they were told by their Eoxian contact to get this crate, and that's it. They weren't necessarily told to open it or to leave it closed, nor did they say what was in it, but it was obviously very nefarious. And the question is what to do with this gigantic crate, and we get right into that in the beginning of the episode. What I love about this is that it also reminds me of the episode The Crate from the movie Creepshow, in which there is a crate that's been sort of sitting around for over 100 years, and no one knows what's in it. And if you watch the movie, you'll find out that it's pretty horrible, and it's atrocious what's actually in that crate. Fun fact, that movie, and specifically The Crate, was filmed in my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon University, where both I and Jason McDonald went. In fact, that's where I met Jason. And it was filmed in a place called Margaret Morrison, which is one of the halls there, and I took a lot of classes there, and I used to walk through all the same halls that they filmed the movie. And in fact, where the crate is underneath this staircase, I used to go there all the time. And let me tell you, it's just as creepy as it looks in the movie. And I used to think about that crate sitting there all the time. It is sort of really, really scary. Anyhow, this is another episode like last week that was used using recovered audio. So it doesn't sound quite as good as the other episodes, but I'm very happy I was able to save it because the discussion between the players is really awesome, and I didn't want to lose that. So with that, let's get right into the show. The package is sealed, and there appears to be no manifest detailing its contents. What are you going to do?
It's sealed.
Chris Beamer is playing the Lashunta operative, Hiroji.
It is sealed.
Well, quality assurance tells us that we don't want to just haul back unknown things to our employers.
Or an empty container,
yeah.
you know?
What we should do
it could be
is open
empty.
it up, get inside of it, and decide for ourselves if it's something they're interested in.
Bob Marquis is playing the human envoy, Rusty Carter.
It's the only responsible thing to do.
Exactly.
John Statz is playing the Vesk soldier, Mo Dupinsky.
All right, well, we'll have...
I'm not
sure that's such a great idea.
Yeah, do we recall what he
kinda
mentioned about that? Did he say, don't open it? I don't recall.
Salvage rights. At any rate, where's our computer guy to hack this?
I can hack things. I'm very good at all that stuff.
Yeah, Tuttle. We need some computer work.
I'm not sure we should do that. I'm thinking maybe we should just deliver the guy's package. I mean, he did hire. I mean, he hired us to bring it back. He didn't hire us to open it and start mucking around.
Well,
with it.
Jason McDonald is playing the Yosoki mechanic, Tuttle Blacktail, and his drone, Cheddar.
He hired us to go and find what they were interested in. How do we know if we found it now, unless we make sure?
This is an intel
It's a
mission.
box that says Eoxian Assembly. If what's inside it is not what he wanted, that's kind of his problem.
Wait,
Especially if it's sealed. I mean,
as a little refresher, what is this Eoxian guy's? He was the. Which guy was he? Is he the Starfinder guy?
he was the arbitrator that's doing the mediation between Hardscrabble and Astral Extractions.
Right.
He's managing the case, and he's hired us to investigate it, but then as a side mission, he wanted us to retrieve, presumably, this package. Unless there's more than one, but it seems like it.
What I'm saying is the exact quest he gave to us was, go to the Aceron, establish exactly what happened to it, what was the value of its cargo, and is the space rock really as mysterious as the media claims? So establish the value of the cargo. Oh, also find a package. There it is.
Yeah, we're talking about the other quest.
Yep.
Well, you know what? While we're here, I say we roll this onto our ship and deal with it later.
Well, there's going to be information in that's we're going to be making decisions on, I think.
Well, no, there's no information. This is something that's his, and he wants it, and he probably doesn't want it up.
Well, it's going to have intel, though, is what I'm saying.
No.
Well, and we hope this is what he's asking for. We don't really know. There could be other packages on here we just haven't found yet.
But the flip side is, I mean, maybe he rewards us with a more work or better, if we don't mess with his package. Whereas if we mess with his package, maybe he thinks we're a bunch of assholes and doesn't.
Thieves. I agree. I agree with you.
I mean, obviously that wasn't anything I was thinking of. I just don't think that way about people being corrupt or wrong. So it never crossed my mind. But if that's what you all think...
I mean, the flip side is I do worry a little bit that he's like asking us to bring back space plague or something.
Or like a bomb that blows up on our shuttle.
The price of the package has been set. He's not going to give us more or less if it's opened. I mean, if he's going to give us less or something that we don't want, we won't give him his package, and then he'll give us exactly what we want,
So I think it was like $500 a piece for bringing back the package.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I'm kind of like my kind of feeling on it is it's not my business. It's really not. It's none of my business. I don't really. He wants it. He asked for it. He's willing to pay for it. Like, why do we need to mess with
I mean, he's a reputable, upstanding member of the community. I mean, the Eoxian Assembly or whatever was in the nice part of town. I lean towards he's not. Even if he's being nefarious, it's the sort of nefarious we can probably, not lose a lot of sleep over.
So, living in a nice house and asking you to get unnamed packages for them, you two would make great drug mules.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Yeah, I have no problem with that. As long as I get paid.
My high school guidance counselor never told me I had a future as a drug mule.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else in this room?
Yeah, there actually are. There appears to be supplies here. Food, water stores, replacement air filters, spare parts, and the like.
But nothing of value.
Anything useful or valuable, right?
For some reason, I got
Not
healed
really.
up.
You took a 10-minute rest. That's why you got healed up.
Okay, but
I think we can debate this more later. Like, let's just bring this aboard our shuttle, and we'll deal with it later.
And at the moment, this is a little metagamey. The vote is 2-2 to break the quest, which means we don't have a quorum. Which means we
I'm sorry, Cheddar breaks the tie.
Cheddar breaks the tie. That's right.
Exactly. Well, the other thing is that only two people who have a chance of opening that. The two people who don't want to.
In fairness, I do see both sides of it. There is also the did this in any way contribute to what happened to the people on the ship?
Right.
And B, if it was completely above board, why is this guy making us smuggle it off while the ship's under quarantine as opposed to just waiting till the quarantine's lifted? So I do sort of see the other side of the argument, but I kind of lean towards if we're going to do the deal, we should just not mess with the package and bring it to him. And if we aren't going to do the deal, then maybe we open it and say we couldn't find it and get out of it entirely. But I mean,
there is a camera that's watching us.
We do have a camera watching us. So I don't think
that's camera, though. That's a camera for the other quest.
Oh, that's right.
No, but it's the same guy. It's the same guy doing both quests.
Same quest giver each time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really? It could be a clunker, as they say. you know, and then we open it up.
Yeah, it was that
and it's like-
Gobalar Sknor or whatever, the undead guy. He gave us both
Gobalar
missions.
Sknor, right.
It could be a case of Saurian brandy that's worth not much, but worth much to him.
Oh, and the package is his personal package, is what he
And
said.
It could be Famke Janssen encased in amber. Cool,
that'd be
that
good.
imprint
The
on one
perfect
of us.
Well,
Yes, I'm rolling out my TNG plot points now.
can we move this? Is it on wheels, or is there like a dolly or something we can?
Well, and how big is it in general?
Is it an envelope? Or
I'm
what?
looking at
you
that
said
crate in the
it's,
middle. I thought
It's the crate in the middle. It's approximately 8 feet square. So it's about 8 feet by 8 feet by 8 feet. It's quite large. It looks like you will be able to jerry-rig something to move it out and get it onto your ship if you want. As I said, there's no manifest detailing its contents. It looks like it could be opened with engineering to hack it. Of course, you could always do the old-fashioned, just bash it to pieces if you wanted to. Or you could just bring it onto your ship and call it a day.
For the
I'm gonna
moment,
go-
let's secure it, and we can table the conversation.
I'm going to listen to it to see if I hear anything. I'm going to tap on the walls. Could be like prostitutes or something like that, dying from air, and you
maybe
guys,
one.
yeah,
No, but it's
you guys-
an undead prostitute. So
Yeah.
Have any of you people watched season 2 of The Wire?
yeah. It's I'm going to listen. Do I hear anything?
Perception.
I did part of it.
Hey, Ziggy was a trustworthy guy.
Okay, I am rolling perception.
You rolled a 6 on perception. You hear nothing.
I'm gonna check. I'll put the Geiger counter over it just for shits and giggles. See if there's any radiation.
That's a good
coming off
idea.
I put the Geiger counter over it and nothing happens.
it. Okay, good.
Is there any way to scan it? Like, is there? What if we get the power on this ship running, and there's some way to like X-ray it or something?
Possible. I mean, you guys don't have anything on your bodies that allow you to do scanning. There's definitely technological items that allow you to do this. Unfortunately, you're so low level that you really can't.
We're back, man. We're the
We're
back.
like a Zoolander. Oh, it's in the computer.
All right. Well, let's bring it to. Let's have Cheddar bring it to the ship.
Wow,
Yeah.
are you? So you're
Obey.
bossing around Cheddar now?
Well, he can.
Can boss around Tuttle. Tuttle, take this to the... No.
He can.
I don't think Cheddar is really that strong.
Probably not. We'll put it on.
He's only got like a
Google.
14 strength or something, so he's not any stronger.
Well,
than
Mo's going to
us.
try to push it. How heavy is it?
It's
No, he said we could
pretty-
jury rig something, so we
yeah,
we do
it's
it.
pretty
Let's-
heavy. It's going to take you some time.
It's a cargo hold. There's got to be like dollies and wheelie things
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean,
Hand truck.
Definitely.
space tensors floating disk.
Well, yeah, like anti-gravity pods.
Sure. So you decide to sort of jerry-rig something, and who is going to push it through the hallways?
No.
I liked the
I'll-
Cheddar idea.
I'll push it.
Yeah,
push
there
it.
we
It
go.
doesn't
The
matter.
Vesk is also.
I mean, if there's wheels or something, I mean, I'm not going to do it while we're in combat or anything, unless I can actually. Oh,
You can
that'd
hide
be a
behind
good
it.
battering ram. Yes, crush them. Well, we're also going to search this room too. I mean, we're not just going to.
we did already.
We
Oh,
did
we did,
already.
okay.
It was nothing good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to push that. Let's push it to our whatchamajig right now.
Okay, you managed to spend some time.
Hippocampus. That's it.
You managed to jerry-rig something. Mo and Cheddar are pretty strong. I guess Rusty supervises, being the envoy. and
I
all.
would love to help, but I'm feeling very sick at the moment.
Yeah, he's under the weather.
Yeah.
The rat probably just sits on it and directs it, sort of like that way. And Hiroji is just looking through all the crates, trying desperately to find something of value, anything, except all he finds is bottles of water.
Tuttle is the guy when you're moving a
that's the
couch, and he's the one who's like suggesting all the improbable angles. You need to lift it up over your head and turn
While
it at
sitting
a
on the
35-degree
couch. Yeah.
angle.
You managed to get it to the shuttle, absolutely no
Hippo.
problem.
The hippo. It's no
The
shuttle.
hippo.
That's our ship.
We
The
need to
ship.
rename
But
that.
it actually has a cargo hold, I believe, so you can get it in and secured, and there you go. So it is secure.
These things before drop those little nuggets, right? We get all those, right?
The dog metal nuggets, those are actually in their cocoons. So the one where Rusty is currently standing right next to the airlock to the north, there are some nuggets over there of the narwhal, and you can pick some of that up. And there's
Incidentally, if I ever start a band, I think Dog Metal Nuggets is on the short list.
That's a
Rusty,
good name.
Can you grab those dog metal nuggets?
Actually, you'll have to fight McDonald's on the trademark for that, though.
You grab the dog metal nuggets, and it's about 1 pound, which is worth about 500 credits. So you got a pound of dog metal nuggets.
Did we find any Szechuan sauce?
The Szechuan sauce that's somewhere in the cargo hold. You gotta look.
Maybe that's what's in the Oxyan package. Maybe it's the McDonald's Szechuan sauce.
It would be worth its weight in gold, to tell you.
Okay, other things. You said to the south was the airlock. You said that airlock was open or no?
No, the airlocks to the north and the south are closed. The only one that seemed to be open to space was the one that you came in.
Which we can close, right?
You closed it already. Remember, you all squeezed in and you closed it. Originally, this was opened up to space, and it looks like, from what you can gather, all these doors are open, and this ship was open to space. So something bad happened here, and these doors were forced into the open position. So it's something bad's going on.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we should go to the south and get our other dog metal nuggets to the south because there's more cocoons.
Yeah, we also need
our
to
doggy
search their other
droppings.
lair. Yeah. There may be more dog metal in there.
Exactly. So I say, Mo, follow me.
Dog metal droppings. I am carrying my light reaction cannon, just so you know, so I am overburdened. I'll drop it as soon as combat starts, though.
Well,
okay.
Or fire it.
Well,
Rusty has a lot of good suggestions. I like that.
I know.
I like his
he has
suggestions.
some big negatives when if he's an overburden. I think it's like a
but
minus.
only there's something in front of them, right? I'm just saying that the downsides aren't for me.
Well, yeah.
So to the south, this appears to be a mirror image. You're starting to get a sense that this ship is a mirror image on the north and the south. So sure enough, another cargo hold, because this was a mining ship. So, and this large room appears to be a small science lab, some compact mining equipment, and rock samples. There also appears to be quite a bit of the dog metal nuggets on the floor.
Science lab. You can just leave it.
Gather them up.
yeah, we're gonna check the room, sweep and clear, and make sure it's safe, and then get our doggy droppings.
Okie dokie. You find more of the dog metal nuggets on the floor. There appears to be quite a bit of them. You get about 2 bulk worth, so that's about 1,000 credits worth. And give me some perception checks if you're going to search the rest of the room. Mo had that all ready to go.
Wow.
20. Mo, he sniffs out. He's like, Hiroji tries to. He's like, wait, I want to look too. He gets a 25, but Mo sniffs it out. Mo's like, I smell a weapon. Sure enough, he finds a flame pistol lying on the floor of the cargo hold.
Everything is a hunter weapon. Okay. Well, I'll investigate this weapon. I should know all about it. What is it?
It's a flame pistol. It's a small arm that literally shoots a line of fire. It can shoot a line and in 20 feet, and anything in that line will get burned. It does 1d4 fire damage. If it crits, it puts you on fire. It's unwieldy, so you can only you can't do 2 attacks with it. And it uses petrol. It needs 4 units of petrol per shot. There's 8 left, so this weapon has 2 shots left.
Nice. All right.
Suspect it wasn't very useful to the last owner. This is not a lucky weapon. Can any of you guys use it?
All of us.
Knowing that the
I can use
Akatas are immune to fire, or nearly immune, this was probably discarded because it was not worth anything. But think of Kurt Russell in The Thing. That's what this is.
But in a pistol form.
Yeah.
In a pistol form. That's correct. All of you can use small arms, so any of you can use
for
this.
me.
All right, so-
I could use a second gun because somebody took my second.
Yeah. All right. Well, no argument here.
You know, the fun thing is it goes in a line, so you can hit friend and foe.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That'll
that's
be
the one
perfect
concern
for.
I have of that because
Yeah,
I'm
that'll
more
be
likely
perfect.
to be up in the front.
Yeah, that'll be perfect for Rusty because he'll be in the back.
It'll get to burn
Well,
us
but it's
all.
only got a range
Yeah.
of 20 feet. That 20-foot
Oh, that's
thing
true.
is the only range it has.
Hiroji,
so.
do you need that?
I could use it. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm gonna pass
honestly,
because
that's
I-
not going to be useful, Rusty. To the
It's not even a range. It does a 20-foot line. So it's like, it's not a gun. It's literally a flamethrower.
it's a
So
flame
you-
burst comes out.
Yeah, it comes right out.
I don't know.
It's-
I mean,
it's-
I, it's up to you. I mean, do either of you think you would use that much? Or
I'm not especially excited by the idea because I kind of want to stay in the back. Well, though, okay, I'll say it. It might actually be kind of a cool weapon for Cheddar.
oh, that's true.
Come on, Cheddar with a
that's actually
flamethrower.
great.
All right, there we go. That's the answer.
yes.
I find a good amount of appeal to the idea of Cheddar with a flamethrower.
Excellent.
Cheddar can he hold two guns?
I'd have to for the moment. I'd have to swap out his gun.
Yeah. I don't think we want to swap it quite yet. Maybe give it to Rusty for now. I think Cheddar has a good gun for right now.
Yeah, Rusty will. Rusty will say, "Yes, great, hand it to me." Me, the player, thinks Cheddar should have it. To be honest.
Okay, but yeah, not against those things though.
Well, yeah, not against the dogs. I mean,
No,
I was talking down the road, like for future missions.
Yeah.
After we get off
yeah.
the ship, Cheddar with
Yeah.
a flamethrower kind of has a lot of appeal.
Okay, so have we searched this room pretty much?
All right, for the time being,
Take
I'm going to
20.
hold it.
Who's holding it after
Me.
all that?
Me.
Okay, you got
Hey,
it.
how did that happen?
Just give it to Rusty. You're not going to have it, Hirogi.
Now, Rusty's greedy.
He
Not
hasn't had anything
much.
yet. He hasn't taken anything yet.
No,
I
nothing.
know,
at
but
all.
I'm
I've
worried.
taken everything
but
yet.
Hiroji is personally worried about him standing behind me like he does and firing that thing off. He's personally worried about that.
Okay.
He's like-
Well, I
He's
think
like,
that's-
I think Rusty. I think Cheddar can hold it, but if you don't want to give it to Cheddar right now, I'll hold on to it for now.
Well, I object to this. You know what? I think I should get my. Why don't you pay up, settle up the 30, and hand me my
Yeah,
gun
you're
back.
you're
That's
making
what you're taking.
you're
That
making
makes
wrong
sense.
enemies right now. The guy, you're making enemies of your loan shark. That's kind of not a good idea.
I'm very dangerous though.
All right. Actually, I don't care that much. Go ahead and hold on to it. We're going to figure out the loot later. I looked it up, and
Yeah.
the ammo for this, it doesn't really cost much more than for my own guns, so it can be refilled and used later.
Yeah, it's. I can actually do more damage with it too, probably with my trick attack.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, all right.
Well, not if only if it's an operative weapon.
Oh, that's any light weapon, any it counts as a.
It's a
Is it a
small arm.
light
right?
weapon?
Yeah,
or is
no,
it
any
a
small arm
small range?
works with that.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, you look around the rest of the cargo hold. Again, it's a large room. It has a small science lab, a mining equipment. It appears to be some rock samples and the narwhal on the floor, and now this weapon. That's it. Everything else is, again, this room is definitely less crowded than the one to the north. So
Rock
this looks like
samples.
this looks like the room where they actually do work.
Are any of you guys geologists or something?
Yes,
Yeah, you could probably use life science on that if you want.
I'll examine the rock samples because perhaps these came from the bigger rock, and perhaps it's just a rock.
You-
Sometimes a rock is
you roll,
just a rock.
You roll a 4. You're like, yes, these are rocks. In fact, pet rocks. Ooh, Tuttle rolls a 1.
disagrees. He's like,
Tuttle.
this is actually rock candy.
Tuttle whiffing on the science check. That's not good.
Wow.
It
We should
happens.
take them anyway. I mean, are they small rock samples or big rock samples?
All over the place. I mean, this is going to weigh you down. I mean, you could throw them on the shuttle.
Yeah, I think we
on your
should make
hippo.
another haul a couple rock samples back and the dog.
Yeah, I mean that's
Nuggets
kind of what
back.
we're sent here for.
Leave the dog nuggets on a shuttle also because it's too
Yeah.
much weight.
Yeah.
So we do that.
So we take some rocks over there.
All right, you bring some rocks onto the hippo, and there you go.
And we leave our dog metal nuggets over there too.
Okay. So Mo is actually a little bit further down the hall to the east. So you can see there appears to be narrow corridors to the north and the south. You can only see a little bit. And to the east, you can see what appears to be the front of the ship and the bridge.
Okay, guys, let's get in formation, get into character.
I have my rented gun in hand at the moment.
All right.
What's the name of your rental company, Rusty?
Oh, it's just Carter's Creations
LLC.
Corporation.
CCC?
Yeah, well, for short.
Or C3?
Not Gunfly.
Oh, Gunfly is good. Well, let me think about this.
Cheap guns are us.
Rusty's Ricochet. I sell you a rifle, you sell it back to me for half the cost.
Sounds about right.
All right, I'm going to move forward and look down the corridor to the north.
Okay. To the north, you see there appears to be
Oh,
to the northeast down the corridor, then the very narrow corridor, you can see what appears to be a galley, and to the northwest, there appears to be two doors that are open.
all right.
So,
These,
2 encounters in 2 doors. Got it.
yeah, I'm thinking these are just going to be sleeping, like crew.
Nope,
I'm going
pick
to
a
look
direction.
south. I'm
Well,
going
the
to look
big
south.
picture question is, do we want to head for the bridge or do we want to clear everything?
That's what I'm thinking.
leading up?
I'm thinking the bridge is the way to go.
You look to the
clear out
south.
everything behind us is what I'm thinking.
You see, again, there's 2 doors. There's actually 3 doors. One to the east that's open that appears to go into a hold of some sort. You're not exactly sure. There's another door open to the northwest. But strangely, the door to the southwest is closed.
Ooh, a clue! I feel a clue coming on.
Pick a direction. I'm with
That's literally the only closed door you've ever seen in this
Yeah.
ship so far, except for the airlocks.
I tell everybody that I feel a clue. What do you
Why
guys
don't we
think?
sweep and clear the open
A
rooms
clue.
first, and then let's check out the closed door before we go to the bridge. I don't know that we want to leave anything behind us and get trapped. Possibly get trapped on the bridge with something between us and the exit.
the lead
Yeah,
encounter.
I guess that's a boring way to do it. Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, here we go.
So you're going north.
And I'm going to listen. Actually, no, there's no reason to listen.
At the moment, I'm going to park Cheddar at the opposite corridor and just kind of have him do sentry duty.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Yeah. What do I see?
Okay, you pop in there. You pop to the north, and to the east of the north corridor, you see what appears to be a galley. It is a kitchen area. And to the west, the 2 open doors lead directly into crew quarters. These seem to have beds and 2 simple bunk beds, pair of lockers, sink, and some maybe possessions. They appear to be all identical, and they seem to be able to hold 4 people per room, because there's 2 bunk beds per room, and there's 2 rooms, so enough to hold 8 people without hot bunking.
I tell everybody, okay, it looks pretty clear for this room. I'm going to also go to the other room and check it out.
Which is the other room?
Up.
Oh, the other. Yeah, they're both exactly the same.
Okay,
Yeah, you can
okay.
see these crew quarters, other than the slight variation of the layout, they are identical in terms of equipment.
Okay, so I'm going to do a search. I say, okay, guys, let's search this place.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're not searching for monsters. We're searching for loot.
Of course.
Well, we're searching for information.
So again, you look through the crew quarters. There's beds. There's the lockers. There's the sink. When you go through everything, they appear to be fairly ransacked. It looks like something or someone was through here already, and anything of value appears to be gone.
Wow.
That's unfortunate. Can I try again?
Sure.
Well, just take 20.
Yeah, I mean, you basically start tearing the place apart and pulling off all the linens and the beds, and going through the locker, and you're like, there's nothing of, I mean, there's some clothes and other personal items, but otherwise, anything that's in here appears to be completely worthless.
All right, how about in the kitchen? Same thing?
Yeah, I've been looking in there, but I only got a 15.
Okay, the kitchen is where shared meals were prepared. There's some rations in here.
Astronaut ice cream?
Yeah, astronaut, exactly. You got astronaut ice cream. There's nothing of value in the sense that you probably can eat, and there's more than enough food to survive on, but otherwise there's nothing of value.
Looks like we're going south unless someone has an objection.
Nope. Sounds good. Rusty,
Yeah,
do you want to take
for
point on this one?
Rusty's our sickly child.
Oh, I was a little sick in one of the rooms. Just close the door.
I'm just going to peek into the this door next to me, next to Mo.
I'm going to go there.
He's going to tiptoe.
I'm going to stealth, too. How about that?
Oh, I'm going to stealth too.
Oh, hello.
I like the image of a Vesk stealthing. It's like Godzilla on tiptoes.
It's better than...
Does it make the little, like, Warner Brothers cartoon noise?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the high keys on a piano.
Exactly.
So you stealth, you're nice and quiet. You peek in you're in the south corridor. There's the northwest door. And what do you know? It's another crew quarters that looks identical to the top three you just saw.
Ooh, I bet the other one's captain's quarters.
The door that's open to the southeast, you look in there. That appears to... Actually, sorry, I made a mistake. That room is also closed. I am wrong. Sorry.
Oh, there's two doors that are closed.
Yes, I made a mistake. Sorry about
Rogi,
that.
do you want to open that one?
Well, you don't want to check the crew quarter first?
All right, I'll go in the crew quarter. All right, I'll check out.
You're usually the worst person to do it, though. Let me do that.
Yeah.
Well, your perception is not...
My tail's going to be bumping up against everything as I'm spinning around, searching, making a mess of the place.
Rogi once again gets a 19. He starts tearing the place apart, looking for anything. It's just like the other rooms. Anything of value has been looted. It looks like this place has already been gone through. And the two doors to the south are closed.
Okay, guys, get ready. I'm going to open this door.
All right, I'm going to stand there.
Door to the east.
Don't worry, I'm
southeast.
hiding back here,
Yeah.
right behind you.
In fact, I'm going to even put my laser rifle down, and I'm going to get my light reaction cannon, and I'm going to open up the door with that ready. So, oh, wait a minute. These doors are powered, so they might not move. So let's see if it even opens.
Now, the door doesn't seem to open. It can be manually open if you wish. It's not too difficult. You can just sort of put your arms in and just push it open.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Keep in mind, if there's like a survivor or something in there, they might have like forced the doors to stay closed. They might have disabled it or something.
So is that what you do, Mo?
Yeah. We'll have to take that risk. Or should I say the
Okay.
survivor will have to take that risk.
All right. All right.
Yeah, we should have another flight suit or something like that we can put on somebody if they are alive.
So we can... What, so we can fly them around?
No. So they can breathe. So we don't kill them opening up a door.
Oh, you think he's sealed
Oh,
off in
yeah.
a room that has air? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Well,
I can't imagine it would be airtight, though.
All right. Do you want the good news or do you want the bad news?
Fuck him if he can't take a joke.
I want the bad news.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with bad news.
Bad news is, well, there's really no good news. So the only news is,
Here's the 8 dogs.
There's never any good news.
And here's the other 8 dogs that we were missing.
as soon as you open up the door, you hear a laser shot, and a laser is shot right at Mr. Mo, right in his face.
Heavy cover.
Oh, I roll a 20, which means it crits you.
God.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and it does. Well, this might kill you.
Oh my god.
It does 66 plus 2 damage, so that does 27 points of damage to you.
Holy shit.
Mo! Oh no.
Mo is not dead, but he's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Wow. What the hell was that?
Okay, now what do you want to do?
Now
Well,
we use
what happened?
a healing potion.
What happened? What shot at me?
Do you do a perception?
Well,
Drop prone.
Yeah, I'm just moving. I'm moving
Yeah,
away.
withdraw. Is fine
Withdrawing.
with me.
Okay.
this is some kind of trap, maybe.
Okay, well, yeah, so basically, you forced open the door. As soon as you forced open the door, a laser shot you right in the face, critted you, and did 27 points of damage.
I know that much. So it's Hirogi. Hirogi's running
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I have time to actually apply a healing serum to me.
Sure, we're not in rounds. Or
Oh,
anything,
okay. So in that
you
case,
could totally
let's
do a
take-
healing serum.
I think we should take that. Might be a robot in there. I want to take 10
I think we
minutes.
scanned the ship before we came aboard and didn't see any life signs. Now, there may also be things that can hide life signs, but...
Well, robot has no life signs, right?
Or
Did we do that?
Robots do not. Androids do, but robots do not.
I mean, that's a pretty shitty scanner. It missed all those dogs.
That's true.
I don't remember doing that scan. Did we do that scan, really?
Yeah, because I remember asking Steve if I could take 20 on a scan if we're not in combat. So I do remember doing a scan.
It was inconclusive for the
Oh,
life science because of the
inconclusive, okay.
shielding. Yeah, just because of the way it's set up. Also, these, quote, dogs might not be... I mean, you actually know this because you did so well in your life science. These are creatures from the void.
Oh, so they're odd.
They're
odd
yeah,
life
like
exactly.
Crazy water bearer
Negative
creatures, half alive, half...
They're aberrations from the void of
Yeah.
space.
All right,
so these
okay.
things are bizarre.
I'm going to stealth again. And
18?
I'm going to carefully peek in and try and perceive what was in there.
Give me your perception. 26. Excellent. You managed to go all the way down. You very carefully get a mirror out and sort of do try to get the angle. You see, sure enough, appears to be a jury-rigged laser blast trap. It appears like when the door was opened, it set off something to shoot this laser. The good news is the laser is now facing the floor, and it will not shoot again. It looks like it was a one-time thing.
So it's like a trap. And I telepathically tell everyone that it appears that's a trap, that it's disabled now.
All right, good job.
How's Mo? He don't look too good.
Yeah, I need to take 10. There's no way I'm going into any encounter like this. This is close to death.
All right, you rest up. I'm going to go check it out. And
I'd
Rusty,
be actually willing to give you one of my healing serums if you need it.
That would probably be good. So can we do that? Can we take 10 before we start going into combat? Because, I mean, it would be just fucking stupid to open that door up. Because there's something going to be in there. I mean, we're out of rooms on this ship.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go into this room that was trapped where there's nothing.
Oh,
inside.
okay.
But I'm like,
Yeah, if you take 10, you'll get back all your stamina points, and you're down to 5 hit points.
Okay.
And what do you have, a total of 20?
And I'll
so
have to go through some serums.
Yeah, if you want to get back your hit points, but you'll get back all 16 of your stamina points by just taking a 10. So.
Okay, so
you
we're going
rest
to take
up,
10.
Mo. Rusty and Tuttle, do you want to, or someone want to come help me search in here?
Well, want to is an interesting question.
I go in. I check out the laser. What is that? Was that some kind of big, massive laser cannon thing, or like a ship's laser or something? I mean, that was crazy damage.
It was completely jury-rigged, and it looks like it was just put together with, parts and batteries and so forth. It was one shot, but boy, did it do a lot of damage. Yeah, it was bad. It looks like it was parts of a mining laser that was kind of jury-rigged into this. So it used up everything. It's not salvageable. but it did massive damage, and the crit did not help.
This is
Obviously,
really quite impressive work for improvised weaponry.
Yeah, I mean, it did 66 damage.
I hope we beat this person, so whoever set this up, so I can learn how to do this.
I hope it wasn't a goblin. That I hope.
Do we know that a goblin is that kind of like only is that just like a race, or is that like only a kind of scavenger type of creature?
Life science.
A goblin is blah 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 blah.
Life science 26. You know tons on goblins. Well, goblins they, as you can imagine, are very much like goblins in another adventure path thing that we used to play. They really have tattered gear. They often will have makeshift engineering tools, makeshift gear. They do use something called junk lasers, which are lasers that like to blow up in people's faces. They have dog slicers and tattered flight suits. They often are tinkerers and like to salvage ships and go around doing things like this. So they're very similar to Pathfinder goblins. They basically fly around the galaxy looking for things to salvage and are always coming up with crazy schemes and are always trying to make things better. But in honesty, they usually just make them much, much worse.
Yeah, they're big troublemakers, and they also love fire.
Yeah. All right.
Big fans of the fire.
Can I get my stamina back before we?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me.
Because then I can do some healing
first.
serums on me.
Yeah. Let me do Mo while you guys give me.
Yeah. Tuttle is secretly kind of impressed and wants to try to invent a similar thing so he can light Mo on fire at some point in the future.
Yeah. Right.
So you got all your stamina back.
Okay. I'm going to do a healing serum.
Sure. You can just roll. It's 1d8. You have 5 healing serums, by the way. So roll a d8.
God!
You got a 1.
Damn it! God damn it! God damn it!
Yeah, it happens.
Fuck me. All right, how many am I down now?
You have 4 left.
No hit points.
I know serums, but life. I have.
So your total is 36.
Oh shit!
You have 16
I'll do another.
Stamina, and you have 20 hit points. You're at 22 out of 36.
I'm doing a second serum.
RN Jesus.
I'm taking your first roll. You got a 2.
You probably want all those.
Man. I fucking hate this.
Average on 3 dice is 13.5.
Oh, shut up.
You
That's
got,
not helping.
I only did you 3, so you've healed 3 points. You've used 2 serums up. Yeah, but they're cheap. They're cheap. You just have to buy tons of them.
That's what you have to do.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
I think
all right,
you accidentally
got a 7.
bought the salt tablets instead of the healing serums.
You have goblin.
All right, now you're in good shape.
All right, yeah, I'm done.
You sound so thrilled.
All right, I'm opening up this door.
Wait. No. Let them continue, because they were, while you were resting and applying heals. Right. Let me finish up what they were doing.
I'd like to think if someone was to rig a trap that it would actually be to guard something interesting.
Yeah, I'm searching around. We're also
You're putting more thought into it than Mo has.
Well, sure enough, you find some more shards in here.
Apparently jump around like a goof.
1 bulk's worth. So 500 more credits.
Nice. We're actually getting some good credits here.
Yeah, you actually are. You also find some loots.
Oh, what was that?
Loots.
Rusty, go look at the galley to the north. I think there's something.
No. I smelled something similar to the way Tuttle does.
Yes,
you do. You actually do smell this one. It's because it's almost made for you. This appears to be
burning lizard skin, actually.
It's cruise storage, and this is where personal mining and prospecting tools and others were supplies, hence where they were able to make that jerry-rigged mining laser. You look around, and you find 2 Mark I serums of healing, which, what do you know? There you go.
Right.
You find not 1, not 2, but 3 med patches in the storeroom.
Oh, okay.
That's perfect for Hurdy.
A med patch will give you a
Rusty.
plus 10 on your roll when you are trying to heal your disease.
Oh, there we
Do
go.
that now.
Here, let me just take all 3 of those.
Do you have medicine on yourself as a skill?
Me? I do not have med patches.
Someone has to
no.
apply
Could
it
use a potion.
to you.
Perhaps I'll let you rent my medical skills
That is
for a reasonable fee.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah. We should talk about that.
I wonder if Hiroji has medical training.
I'm trained, actually. I'm trained in medicine.
I'd rather go.
And I'm actually pretty good at it.
Take two guns and call me in the morning.
I think I'd really rather go with an actual, scientist. Nothing personal, Hiroji.
I was trained in field operations medicine. I'm pretty good at it.
Sure.
My teacher was quite skilled.
Do you want the head of surgery, or do you want the guy in the ambulance?
I think you want an atmosphere to actually apply that stuff before you actually get out of your suit.
My next roll is tomorrow, not today. Don't worry about it.
Wasn't what's the clock ticking on you? I thought you only had a couple hours.
My memory is that if you miss a roll 2 days in a row, it's like you go down different levels in the disease.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something
sorry.
like in a couple
every time
hours
you miss a
only.
roll,
Okay.
you go down one level.
You will have to
get
make a
better,
save.
I have to make 2 rolls.
All right, Tuttle, why don't you take 2 of those, and I'll hold on to 1 as well.
That's fine. Unless what
it.
bulk are they? They're probably like light bulk.
Probably.
Which
light.
one? Which
The
are
med
the
patches?
serums? Oh, they're light bulb.
Oh, I just put them
That's
on
fine,
my
then.
sheet. Don't worry about those.
We can figure that out later. You find one other item in one of the lockers. This one.
Grenade.
No. Something quite interesting.
A new car!
It appears to be a fusion seal. A fusion seal is one of those items you can put on your weapons to make it more powerful.
Ooh.
Okay.
How would that work? Like what?
And now, I will explain this real quick. So, in Starfinder, the way it works very differently than everything else. Basically, there's no pluses to hit. There's no minuses. There's no +1 weapons or anything like that. Those don't exist. There's these things called fusion seals. There's a whole rule set on how they work. You should read up on them. There's 2 types. You can either permanently put it on your weapon, or you can have a seal which costs 10% more, and then you could actually move it from weapon to weapon however you want.
Whoa.
So you can actually move them around. Now, there's some rules on how these work. So very powerful seals, they have like levels to them, so you can only put it on weapons within a certain range. So for example, if you have a fusion seal that's like a level 5, it has to go on a level, you can't go on like a level 6 weapon. So there's this whole balancing act to it. I won't get into it. It's fairly complex.
What level range is the seal?
This one is, you look at it, and who wants to look at it? Who wants to figure
What
this
sort
one
of
out?
skill?
Do you want the expert to come in
Engineering,
there?
or-
It doesn't say there's any skill, and I'm going to say you just, I don't know. I don't know if you just know it.
Vesk.
I mean, it's one of the things you can buy in the store, so we might all know what that
Yeah,
is.
it might just be common knowledge.
I'm going to say, they say common. It says they're common, so you got it.
Yeah, it's like looking
Who
at a
wants-
socket wrench and knowing what it is. Or
Yeah.
I would not know what one of those is.
In real life? Really?
Yeah, I'm an apartment dweller. I don't fix things around the house.
It is a disruptive fusion seal level 5. A disruption fusion seal allows it imbues a weapon with a powerful positive energy designed to disrupt magical forces that allow undead to exist. The weapon will ignore any DR and energy resistances of undead types. Only weapons that deal bludgeoning damage can benefit from that fusion seal. In addition, the weapon must be somewhere between level 3 and level 5. So that's it. You can only use it on a level 3, 4, or 5 weapon. I don't even
That's
think
fairly
Use on
specific.
melee weapons?
I can't
it
even.
only melee weapons.
Well, only blunt, though, right? Because I think
Only weapons that do bludgeoning damage. So it's a very narrow range of what it can work on.
And that.
your pistol, Rusty, does bludgeoning damage, maybe.
Well, that's my hammer, but my hammer's too low.
That is
I
correct.
can't even apply it to my
Your
hammer.
hammer's too low.
so the green arrow's boxing glove arrow.
Right.
Okay.
It's cool, but it's one of these future
Yes.
items that you can use in the future. You can't really use it yet.
Really
It's got to be worth
specific.
money.
Well, it has a low. It's weird. Fusion seals have a minimum level and a maximum level, and if you look them up, you'll see what their levels are. And then the levels also equal how many fusion seals you can put on it. The system is a bit of a wonkiness, but it makes sense the more you think about it. So the minimum weapon for this, because it's a level 3, so the minimum level for this is 3. You can make it any maximum. You can go up to level 20. A level 20 seal is extremely expensive. This one is actually a level 5 seal. So, if you do the math, it only works on level 3, 4, or 5 weapons.
Makes sense. That's cool.
It's like, it's a little weird. We'll get the hang of it. And then there's also math, like your weapon could only have as many seals as its level. So a level 5 weapon could have a level 3 and 2 level 1 seals, or level 3 and a level 2 seal.
That's
or
cool.
one
Yeah, I mean,
level
it makes
5
sense. It's
seal.
very similar to how magic items in Pathfinder work.
Exactly. It's like there's a math to how many seals you can put on a weapon, and then they're not expensive. If you look at the chart, they're actually really cheap. So,
And now, yeah.
like a level 1 seal is 120 credits.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to
So,
look into that next.
that's it.
that we have
There's
to-
not a lot of good level 1 seals. Like, you kind of want level 4 or 5. They run from like
Yeah,
440
but our level,
to
like our weapons, are
720.
actually really crappy. Like we have the crappiest of the crappy
Yeah.
level weapons that we'll ever have.
Good news is level 3, not that you're anywhere near level 3, the weapons go up a bit. Like, every 2 levels is kind of, I'm noticing
And,
where the levels
and the
go.
most
They kind of
highest
jump.
level you can have for a weapon is 1 above your level, or
No, anyone can use anything. So you can use a level 20 weapon if you wanted to. You'll never find one. You can buy only in common areas. You can buy up to 1 level above your level. So, but on Absalon Station, you can find up to 2. So you can find and buy anything that's level 4 or lower. But if you find a level 5 item, which you just did, you can use it.
Right. Yep.
Well, if you find a level 6 weapon, you can use a level 6 weapon. However, the system is kind of designed, so if you try that, you'll probably fail. It's kind of interesting. It's the way they made it is like you can't really use those weapons.
Well, what I noticed about the system, the weapons to buy, is that they move around from category to category. So, like the level 1 weapons, there's a laser pistol and there's the pistol, the rusty pistol, and then level 2 goes into the cold weapon, and then level 3 goes into the electric weapon, then level 4 goes back to the laser weapon.
It's like there's always a weapon like a level 1, a level 6, a level 11, like level 16. So there's like 4 levels of weapons. Some have a lot more, like the grenades have like 9 or 10 levels of weapons, but there's a step to them and there's a pattern to the weapon.
So, like my best weapon now would be some other category of gun, some other thing. Which,
Yeah, I'm looking at the bludgeoning weapons. I can't even find anything that's not level 1. So either we find something
seems
or
like
there's a way to increase a weapon's level.
Is this thing even go on a melee weapon though? It seems odd.
Only bludgeoning weapons. It only works on bludgeoning.
So that's not
melee.
That's not necessarily just melee.
Blunt. No, there's blast. There's blast or blunt. No. Well, I did a
blast is different. Yeah, it's different.
There's
There's not a lot of
different.
I mean, theoretically, you could have the concept of like rubber bullets, where you could have like a ranged
In
weapon.
Pathfinder,
that would be
blunt, but it's kind of weird.
pierce. I think.
Pathfinder, the gunslinger weapon, the bullets out of that count as both piercing and bludgeoning. They count as both.
Oh.
So, by the way, when you remove a fusion seal and transfer it, it only takes 1 minute, and anyone can do it, but it takes 24 hours for the seal to sort of take place. But you can just have effects. So you can just take it off, but then you can't move it between weapons in the middle of a dungeon crawl. You have to wait 24 hours. But if you buy one of these, again, this game is designed so you can carry around 10 weapons, and just move your seals left and right, so you're not stuck with the +1 weapon, and then that's all you got forever. So it's a good system. You can even put them on grenades and ammunition, but they get destroyed.
Yeah. All right. Well.
All right.
When are we playing again?
That's probably good.
You guys are doing well. I was actually worried these things would like tear the crap out of you and poison you to death because people have issues with them.
One of us.
Well, one of you.
I have a huge fortitude.
Yeah.
against
do
us.
not.
Plus, size rolling well. Yeah, and we have a robot in our party is huge.
Yes,
that's huge.
But I will say it's fascinating. The robot's a big help, but I mean, you have 36. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You took 27 points of damage at level 2, and you're still
I
standing.
think that would have killed anybody else in the group.
Oh, outright.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is you have resolve points, so you wouldn't have completely died. You just would have gone down. It wouldn't have totally killed you. It just would have sucked.
Yeah, I'm just looking at and the only things that count as bludgeoning is kinetic weapons. So probably, I mean, that's mostly like batons or clubs or things like that. But I think it might actually count for
because
like a gyrojet pistol.
Yeah, but we're not going to get gyrojets at this level.
No, but I mean, there's got to be some ranged weapon.
Because I'm looking at everything. I'm thinking there's a way to raise an item's level.
Oh, no, there's plenty of other item levels that are high.
No. What I'm saying, I'm talking for bludgeoning. I'm literally on the Starfinder's weapons page, which is like a huge, long one web page. I'm doing the search for bludgeon and B in parentheses. And it's all level 1 stuff. Unless
here's a level 7
by the way,
carbon steel.
Fusions are magic too, by the way, which is
That's cool.
You should go into the actual book because here's like a 2-handed weapon. It's a 7th level steel carbon staff that is a 1d8 bludgeoning weapon.
Here's a quick question on fusions.
There's
You
lots
said
of
it takes 24 hours to take effect. Can you still use the weapon during that 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes. The fusion doesn't function until the seal's
while the
replaced on
glue is
weapon for
drying,
20.
you can still use
Exactly.
it. Okay.
Yeah, and these are removable. You can make seals on weapons, but to get a fusion seal that's movable, it's 110%. It's equal to 110% of the price of the fusion seal. So it's actually much more expensive to make them like movable, which is what this
is. That a +1 to hit or +1 damage?
What are you talking about?
The fusion. Is it +1 to hit or +1 damage?
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't do anything. It allows you to hit undead creatures. There's no +1s. +1s are gone. That doesn't exist in Starfinder.
Okay.
That's totally gone. No, they do things. It overcomes all damage reduction on undead, and it counts as magic. And what else does it do?
Oh, I thought it was a +1. Oh, okay. How much is it
basically
sell for?
A lot, I bet.
Well, I have to look up the math. It's 720, but 10% of that, so it would be like
that's nothing.
it was like
Yeah, that's right. It's
like
10%.
75.
That's right. It's never worth it to sell something. That's right. Okay. Well, that's something to
I'm
look up
seeing
at
with
least.
bludgeoning is you're right. It is there's all sorts of different melee weapons, and there is one There's one projectile that's a gyrojet, and that's very high level.
Yeah,
that's the only bludgeoning weapon that's ranged.
That's why I say we have to either find something that, or there's a way to raise the level of a weapon.
No, there's plenty of weapons that are higher level that are melee. Plenty. There's tons.
I'm talking. It has to be between 3 and 5 if we're going to use it.
All right, so I will find you a level 3 and 5 weapon right now.
That's bludgeoning.
Yep, there's plenty.
Okay,
I mean not plenty, but they do exist.
Yeah.
Like okay, hold on. Okay, tactical swoop hammer, level 5, 1d10 bludgeoning, knockdown.
1d10 knockdown. Okay.
That's a tactical swoop hammer, costs 3,360 gold. All right, let's find something cheap.
Yeah, that's.
I believe it's 3 to 5. It might be 5 or higher, which actually makes a little bit more sense. But everything I'm reading says that's not correct. So. Because everything I read online said it's a range. So I'm just going to triple check all of this because...
3 levels is not a big range.
I know. It's kind of weird the way
funny.
they did that.
Well, I mean, it is,
that's
though,
why
because, you'll probably... Like, if I had a level 3 weapon, I might use that for, 2 to 3 real levels, and that's a lot of time.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense, but, I mean, for only an app... It's only applicable to undead, and it's only for bludgeoning, which is really restrictive. I mean, those are
understand
two
where they were
extremely
going with
restrictive.
that because they had Mace of Disruption in D&D, and it's a melee weapon that a cleric uses to kill undead. Like,
Yeah.
it's a blunt weapon. So I can see that's probably where they're going with that. It is odd that it is mostly just melee, though. I mean, I'm trying to find a melee weapon that is bludgeoning that's within that range. And so far I found that swoop hammer, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then there's level 1 stuff.
I mean, we can't even find swoop hammer. We can't even buy
Not
it.
high enough level. Yeah.
So honestly, metagaming a little, this almost seems like something to introduce the concept, but it's not actually all that useful in and of itself.
Yeah.
Particular seal.
I just if they're writing the module and they put something like that in there, it seems to me like the key for defeating, a
Either
big
that or we're
bad
running into
later
some
on.
undead soon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's actually very, very useful as you get more powerful and have more money and resources, because, you may be like, all right, we're going to the undead world now, so maybe we should load up with that. And you have 24 hours and you just keep swapping things in and out, which is nice. Like a magical weapon in D&D, you can't do that. Like, you have to actually have lots of different weapons lying around.
Yeah, but that level range restricts. That's a big restriction.
It is weird, though, because you're right. There's minimal amounts of weapons that fall within that range that are also bludgeoning.
Yeah, they basically, I'm looking here, someone wrote about it and said the only weapon that you can benefit from the fusion seal is a tactical swoop hammer.
Yeah, that's the only one I found.
Or possibly a soldier with the armor storm fighting style using the hammer fist technique. So, yeah, this might be a mistake. Actually, I'm curious. Let me see. Hold on, I'm going to keep looking. Hold, please. I'll keep looking. Could be just here's something that's cool that you can't use, which they do. So, I mean, that's not unheard of.
Yeah, tactical swoop hammer. That's it. And that's literally it. Yeah, you're right. That's the only weapon.
And it does basically... Oh, dude.
I mean, tactical swoop hammer is nice, but it's also...
I have one that's basically exactly like... It doesn't have knockdown on my assault hammer. Does 1 to 10.
No, but it has reach, though, which is really nice. That means you can attack things 2 squares away from you. And if they move close to you, you can probably get attacks of opportunity. But that is it. And there's no ranged weapons except for... there's literally no low-level blunt range weapons.
So there are some mistakes in this book, because this book was the very first one made, and they literally wrote it before the rules were set. Like, for example, some of the monsters have abilities that don't exist.
I believe it, yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they wrote this way before the rules were finalized. So they're wondering if this was one other thing. And I do it as rules is written, and that's what it says you guys got. If it sucks, it sucks. You sell it, you get some money.
That's fine.
I think it might even be worth more. I think it's worth 110%, so you might even be worth a little bit. Nothing great. But the other thing is, some people think it might be a different type, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to see what they say. So, hey everyone, it's Steve again. So how about that episode? And poor Mo, he almost died, and I rolled that right in front of them. And let me tell you, if that was anyone else, they would have been dead. They would have been dead. Just goes to show you that Starfinder is not fooling around when it comes to weapon damage. That is one big difference we're seeing with Starfinder, is because there's not as many attacks, the damage is really quite serious, and you gotta take it a lot more seriously than in Pathfinder or Dungeons & Dragons, where you can get hit lots of times. Here, you can get hit or critted, and it is nasty. And in this case, it would have killed anyone else. If you noticed, I also kept in some of our talk after the show, just to show you like what we talk about and how we discuss how the loot works, because some people said they really enjoy that. They like to hear us when we're discussing loot and discussing how we're equipping our characters and things like that. So I kept in some of that discussion. And remember last week I said that this module has some issues with it because it's the very first one. Here's a perfect example. They included this thing called the weapon fusion, which is how you basically make your weapons better. +1, +2, and all those things, those do not exist in Starfinder like other systems. Instead, they have these things called weapon fusions, which actually just add special abilities to all of your weapons. And the cool thing about them is that you can take them off your weapons and put them on other weapons and so forth. There's things for armor as well. The problem with this weapon fusion is they designed it in such a way that it works for exactly one weapon in the entire universe, and that's it. So, not exactly sure what they were thinking about that, and it seems to be an issue. I believe after the first adventure, adventures 2, 3, and so forth really smoothed themselves out. It's just one of those quirks of running the very first adventure ever on Starfinder, that you're going to have a few things that are a little wacky. So this week I wanted to discuss the role of choice, both as a player and as a GM. And if you notice this week when they were discussing the crate, I didn't say anything for quite a while. I just wanted to hear what they were going to say, because I really didn't want to make this discussion go in any one direction, because there was no right or wrong answer. Now, one thing that you have to be very careful of when you're a GM is that you are the narrator of the story. If you think about a role-playing game, everyone has a role. The players have their roles, and they're part of the story, but the GM plays the role of the narrator, and they really can control the story in such a strong way that if I wanted to, I could have very easily have changed the outcome of that discussion. I could have said something like, oh, the crate is already open. Or something happened to the crate, like one of the space dogs accidentally knocked off the lock, and now it's open. Or it's short-circuited, and now it's open. And now suddenly it goes from a discussion to, oh, it's already open, well, let's just pop it open. Or I could have just said, oh, it's locked shut, and there's multiple alarms and traps, and if you so much as touch it, it's going to go off. Well, in that case, they were going to leave it alone. So I just explained to them, this is the crate, it looks like it can be opened. You don't know exactly whether you should or shouldn't. You guys decide. And then they did the rest. But as narrator, you have to be very, very careful. Because if you so much as say one thing right or one thing wrong or one thing a certain way, that the PCs will pick up on that and think that that's the way they should go. And I actually am a little careful with what I say. And I actually cut out a lot of these pauses. But I actually have pauses before I often GM because I want to think what I'm going to say carefully through. Because if you say so much as the wrong thing, that can make the adventure go in really crazy ways. And there's this old joke that PCs have no choice. That really, in the end, the PCs are just doing whatever the GM wants. And that is really 100% true. Because as the GM, I really can control the narrative. I can say anything I want. I can make them go in any direction I really want. And you can either do this with a light touch or you can do this with a heavy touch. And you'll hear a lot of people who don't like their GMs or have bad experience with D&D or Pathfinder or Starfinder or role-playing games in general is because they had a bad GM who was railroading them and making them do what they wanted. And that's really bad. You got to be very, very careful of this. So really, it's the GM's role to guide and tell the story as the leader, and to sort of follow the lead of the PCs while gently nudging them in the general narrative of the story. And perhaps the best example of this I've ever seen is the play Into the Woods. Now, not the movie. The movie's very good, but it doesn't really get across what I'm about to explain. Make sure you find the play. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. Watch the play if you haven't seen it already. I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler here. But Into the Woods starts off, there's two parts. There's the first part and the second part. The first part of the play is this traditional fairy tale story. There's a character actually in the play called the narrator. And the narrator is controlling the story. And it has very standard fairy tale characters. And they go through what you would expect what you'd see in a fairy tale. What's fascinating is the narrator is controlling the story. And when things good happen, the narrator says, and then it happens. Or if something bad happens, the narrator says, and then it happens. And that's the first part of the story, and then it ends happily ever after. The second act picks up with, well, what happens after happily ever after in the second part. And what's fascinating is that the characters realize that they are being controlled by the narrator. And they don't like that the narrator doesn't have any skin in this story. And in fact, he's controlling their destinies. So the narrator actually gets killed by the characters. The narrator actually dies in the beginning of the second act. And then because there's no narrator, the story goes in all these crazy directions because now the characters can do anything they want. And it gets really nuts. And I love plays that do this. I love stories that are deconstructed. And this deconstructs a lot of things. It deconstructs the whole narrative structure and control. And I can get into this. I can do an entire podcast just on this one subject. But the whole point is that without a narrator, suddenly the characters can do anything they want. And they're broken out of this traditional fairy tale. And they go and do really crazy things and go in directions. and develop in ways you just don't expect. And they cross over with each other, and certain characters hook up with other characters, and good guys become bad guys, and so forth. And because there's no narrator to control this chaos, that is what occurs. I often think about that when I'm doing the story, is that I'm that narrator. And you have to be very careful, because as the power of the narrator, you control the story. And if you are not careful, your PCs will rebel and kill you, in the sense that they will leave your game, or they'll get into a big fight with you, or they'll get so angry that they just don't want to play with you anymore. That is the same thing as killing the narrator. So really, it's collaborative storytelling. That's what this really is, and everyone has to work together. I know I'm kind of putting this from the point of the GM, but the players also have to do this. The players have to respect the GM and with the story they're telling and try not to break it. From the PC point of view, I can say, don't go into the forest when you know for a fact that the GM has nothing to do with that forest. There's nothing in there. They didn't prepare anything. If there's a town in front of you and a forest behind you, don't go into the forest. Go to the town, okay? You're going to have a better time if you go into there. He's prepared a lot of story. He's prepared adventures. Go to that part. If you want to break it, fine. But there's no responsibility on the GM's part if you have a bad time, because that was not a prepared part of the story. Anyhow, I just wanted to go through that whole subject, and I can talk about this more. But one thing I would recommend, if you want to get a book on this, it's going to sound really strange, but there's a great book called Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. It sounds like, what the heck am I talking about? But it discusses narrative structure and storytelling. It's using a graphic medium, but it definitely adheres to role-playing games, and you can learn a lot in general just by reading this book. It's a fun book. It's awesome. It really kind of changed my whole life once I read it. I've read it dozens of times. I like to pick it up and reread it every so often. It's actually quite famous, this book. Once again, it's called Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, and it'll probably blow your mind if you haven't read it already. It's pretty cheap. You can get it anywhere. So the moral of this story is GMs have a very light touch. Definitely push your PCs into the direction of your narrative, but let them play their characters. Let them make the decisions they want to make, and then you can change the story as you need to. Don't force them into any direction. There's no point in doing that unless it's really, really important and key to the story. And even then, there's ways to do it that the PCs don't even know it's occurring. And PCs, don't break the game. Don't break the game for the sake of breaking it. Don't make your GM try to make stuff up on the fly that doesn't always work so well, especially if your GM is not really good at it. I'd say 95% of all GMs are terrible in making stuff up on the fly. So be very respectful, especially if you're playing a pre-made adventure. Don't break it just to see what happens, because you're probably going to have a bad time, and then the game is probably going to dissolve. Everyone is in the game together, and everyone has to agree to play together. You're all telling a story, and everyone has their own point of view, and you don't want to mess up anyone else's point of view. So once again, I hope everyone had a really good holiday. I believe this is the last episode of 2007. We're going to see you guys next year with lots more Roll for Combat. As for contests, we still have the contest where you can submit to us any of your new taglines at the end of the show. We have a few so far, but please submit some more. We're going to give out some free t-shirts, and we'll record the taglines and add them to the show if we choose them. In addition, we also have a Skidamander contest where we have a Skidamander that we want you to name. All these entries, you can just write us at contact@rollforcombat.com. Just give us either your endings or your Skidamander name, and we'll put you into the drawing. Also, please review us on iTunes and Facebook and Stitcher and anywhere else. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on iTunes or any other podcaster that you're using, and definitely give us any feedback or questions you have. We will answer them on the show. Other than that, I guess I will see you guys later.
You've been listening to Roll for Combat, a Starfinder actual play podcast. If you have a question or comment for the show, please visit us at rollforcombat.com or drop us a line at contact@rollforcombat.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and other social media platforms. been listening to Roll for Combat. Until next week, always remember that you're not the first person to yell "Freebird" at the Bard.